If you ever even thought about giving up or quitting, this one's for you. Yo, what's good, family? It's your boy MJ here at MJ the Greatest on Instagram and Twitter. Back with this week's video. Huge shout out to y'all again for the likes, the comments, the supporting, the subscribing. Just showing love however y'all show love. Like y'all know, every time I always gotta show y'all love back. You know what I'm saying? As much as y'all pour into me, I want to pour into y'all that same way, or if not more. You know what I'm saying? But let's just jump right into it, man. The title of this video is Fortune Favors the Bold. Don't give up. Don't give up. Basically a little story time today. So I want to give y'all some stories about real life people who almost gave up right before they struck gold. And then I want to kind of give my story of sometimes these, like the sidebar, y'all, sometimes these videos be just as much for me as they be for y'all. So sometimes like I'll have a video and idea and I'll be like, damn, I needed to hear that. So this is one of them ones where this is just as much as it is for me as I wanted to be inspiration for y'all too. So we'll start. Just first I'll just tell y'all about like real life stories that I've like heard about, and then I'll tell y'all like my own personal experience with this same type of, you know, just kind of wanting to give up, feeling like you've done all that you can do to get to this step or that next point or that next threshold, and that feeling of just wanting to just be like, you know, throw your hands up, throw the white flag or whatever. So the first one comes from this book I read. Great book. I suggest anybody read it that's looking to just, you know, grow in life, advance, do something else or more. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I believe. And basically he tells a story in that book about this guy and his father who basically during the gold rush, they bought like this plot of land. Back then you could buy land for cheap and just, you know, mine gold on it. And so on this plot of land, they found like a gold vein, which basically if you follow the vein will lead you to like the, you know, jackpot of the gold pretty much. And so they bought the land, they bought the equipment, they followed the vein for like 3 days, and then they lost it. They couldn't find it anymore inside of the cave or wherever they was at. And so basically they ended up selling the plot of land and the equipment because they were like, we couldn't find the line. We traced it to where we could trace it to, and then, you know, we didn't find nothing, so it's whatever. So they sold that, they sold that plot of land, right? The guy who they sold it to, he actually went and hired a geologist, or basically somebody who like studies like, you know, rocks and things like that. He hired a geologist, kept the equipment, and in 3 days they found the fortune. So imagine being a person that sold the mine and the equipment because you thought it was all lost, instead of just pushing forth a little bit more, giving it a little bit more effort, putting in just a little bit more work, even when things you don't really know what's on the other side, but you got hope. What could have happened, you know? And that is one of those stories that when I heard it, it was just like, damn, man, I needed to hear it at the moment, right? Because it's like so many times we feel like it's just, we got to just work, and then, you know, it's just gonna magically happen. Everything is just gonna magically happen. Our lives are gonna magically change. We magically gonna get a boatload of money or something like that, right? But you got to keep working. You got to keep stacking days. You got to keep chopping wood, because it's gonna come. It's gonna come. The next one, I'm pretty sure more y'all may have heard about this, is like who people consider, you know, the greatest basketball player, if not the one or two, you know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan. Before Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, he was Mike Jordan. And before he was Mike Jordan, he was a nobody. So let me break that down for y'all. So back in high school, Mike Jordan got cut from his freshman basketball team. The prodigy, the superstar, the legend that we all know, he got cut from his junior varsity basketball team, freshman junior varsity basketball team. A lot of people, after they got cut or they got told no or they get rejected, they'll just stop. They won't keep going. They'll believe that they're a failure. They'll believe that they can't do it. But what did Mike do? Mike went back in the gym. He went back in the lab, came back the next year, not only made the team, but he was the best player on the team. So then he goes on to college. Like I said, we still talking about Mike Jordan. We ain't talking about Michael Jordan. Because he went to college and he was playing with some big stars at North Carolina, right? But then who ends up hitting the game-winning shot in one of the biggest games in NCAA history? That shot, and y'all can go look that up. When Mike hit that shot, that's when they fully gave him the respect of calling him his full name, Michael Jordan. Before that, it was just Mike Jordan. So that story even in itself kind of shows, one, not only that you got to put in work, but two, people will respect you once you do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, and I put myself in there sometimes, of just like, we got the misconception that things are just supposed to just happen for us. Once you do this, and once you try once, and once you try 3 times, you think if you don't get it then it's not for you, but that's not the case. I gotta let y'all in on something, man. I know y'all probably have heard this saying before, or something similar, of like people saying like, you gotta put in your 10,000 hours, you gotta put in your 10,000 hours, you gotta put in your 10,000 whatever. That's a myth. The 10,000 hours thing is a myth. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because it's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 tries. It's 10,000 different times you decided to get up after you fell down. Because what that does is, once you fall down 10,000 times and you get up strong each and every single time, what that builds is a muscle of resilience that nobody can beat, that nobody can deny. That the earth, the frequency, the universe is only gonna vibrate. That the earth, the universe, that's a frequency it's only gonna vibe with. Because it's seeing, like, your work never gets unseen. Even if no other person sees it, I want y'all to know that y'all work never gets unseen. Everybody, it's always something, some higher, something greater that's watching over you, that's clocking in all the hours that you're putting in. So I don't want to sit up here and say like, oh, your hours don't count or they don't mean anything. But it's not just about the work, it's the attempts. Who knows how many jumpers Mike had to go shoot in that gym to becoming cut from his team to being first on his team, varsity. You know what I'm saying? Another story that I kind of want to share with y'all real quick is Dyson, James Dyson. So I'm pretty sure y'all probably heard about the company Dyson. James Dyson he like a rock star, man. I really, really rock with him. Especially once I heard his story. I mean, I already like his products, but once you hear his story, you figure out why they're so good, why he's so good, why Dyson is so big. The simple answer is 10,000 attempts. James Dyson was the first person to ever say, I want to create a vacuum without a bag. And so you got to imagine all the other vacuum makers and cleaning services at the time laughed at him, because it's kind of like, there's no such thing as a vacuum without a bag. Well, obviously, duh, right? There's no such thing as anything before somebody decides to say, I want to create this, I want to work on this, I want this to be in your mind. To take something from your imagination in your mind and bring it into the 3D reality, that is creation. You know what I'm saying? That's a dope thing. So anyway, this guy, which y'all believe me, literally made 10,000 plus prototypes before he got to that one vacuum cleaner that worked. So what he did was, each and every time he built something and it didn't work, he only switched out one piece. So that way he could tell if that piece worked or didn't work. Was that piece helping or hurting? So he went through that process 10,000 times before he got to one prototype that worked. And like I said, we all see what the company Dyson is today. Anyway, I want to tell y'all all of this and these stories and whatever and whatnot, because that's what it's all about. You know, I felt like me personally, just honestly with y'all, I have felt kind of like I hit a wall for a second. You know what I'm saying? Because I come on here and, you know, I'll let you guys know, like, as far as my entrepreneurial journey goes, like, it's kind of just me. You know, I'm doing all of the work. And that's not to sound like poor me, pity me, or, you know, anything like that. This is exactly what I, you know, signed up for and what I chose. But I'm human, you know what I'm saying? Nobody feels okay all the time. So I go through my days. This past Monday was like just not one of my, you know, I just wasn't myself, you know. I didn't feel like I normally feel, you know what I'm saying? But I gave myself grace to know, like, look, nobody is always okay. I kind of got to a point where I felt like I did everything that I could do with my own two hands to advance or move forward. And at the moment I felt like, man, it's just like not enough. Like, it's not enough. But I know, like, I'm not the only person that get that feeling. And so when I get in moods like that, or I get times like that, I have to go back on those stories myself, because I had to realize, like, all real people who really did anything of, you know, substantial or substance or anything, like, you know, the things we look up to, the people we see, they had to go through this. You know what I'm saying? They had to go through the process. They had to go through the journey. And which is a beautiful thing, man, because I just told y'all Monday was like not my best day. So this past Wednesday, I actually got this dope opportunity to go speak to these campers and students who work for this organization that I used to work for about 4 or 5 years ago. So that was like a super dope full circle moment of where I got to kind of tell the kids, you know, where I am now, how I got here. And also I got to share my water with them, share the water journey with them, and just kind of seeing their faces and how they kind of like looked at me for doing what I was doing. It was just, I tell you all the time, man, it just takes though, it might just take one comment, one person, one like, just one moment that just kind of lets you know that everything that you're doing is right. Like, everything that you're doing, like, your effort is not unseen. Like I said to you guys earlier, like, somebody's noticing you, you know what I'm saying? And just from that one event that I got invited to, there's so many potential opportunities to come from that. Like I said, I don't like speaking on too many things before, you know what I'm saying, they come to fruition. But that was just an awesome day. And that was just the one extra day or nudge, like I said, from the universe that I needed personally to kind of just let me know, like, all right, you're not tripping, you're not crazy, and you not tripping, you're not crazy either. We gonna fall down, but we gonna get back up, whether it's 10,000 times or it's 11,000 or 12,000, but we gonna get to wherever we going. I promise you that. I promise you that. But we're gonna get there, man. And like I said, I gotta go into these stories sometimes myself to remind myself that the people we might look up to, the people that we admire, they all had to go through this too. They had to go through the process. And that's what it's all about, you know what I'm saying? There's no, like I told y'all, the 10,000 hours thing is fake, and so is overnight success. That doesn't really exist. I think there's a such thing, but at the same time, man, you gotta have some foundational level of work there. You gotta have put in work, you know what I'm saying? And attempts and tries, and you're gonna fall, but you can always get up. And I'm gonna always be there with my hand out, reaching for you. I'm pulling for you. We got this. Peace out. Catch y'all next week.